Well, thank you so much for staying with us, and we're back right here on Select Talk with Mujib Kasuse, discussing his life experiences and what shaped him into who he is today. And like I told him, we'll be diving into his personal life. A bit uncomfortable for him, but we'll definitely need to do it in order to understand the whole of Mujib Kasuse. So is Mujib Kasuse married?
Yes, I am married. I have 2 kids, 2 beautiful girls, Hayat and Amira. Hayat is 12, Amira is 9.
Okay.
Amira plays football.
Impressive.
Yes, and, she's in the academy, very bright. Hayat now is taking up poetry and reading. She's about to join P7, very bright. Two beautiful and good kids.
Okay. The Muslim community or the Islam religion calls for men can marry more than one wife.
Exactly.
Do you have more than one? Or
No,
do you just have one?
At the moment I have one, but like you said, Quran has given me the options. And they're still there.
Well, that takes me to the part of women emancipation. What is your view of this system, the concept of women emancipation? And what do you think about, say, a woman who earns more than her husband? Would you be intimidated if your wife earned more than you?
No, of course not. But I think many people confuse emancipation and equality. For me, every time I come to this topic, I go to the books, to the religious books, because for me they offer the best guidance.
Okay.
The Quran has offered the best guidance when it comes to the woman and the male and the female. Everybody has their rights. And for me, I see the Quran, religion gives women a lot of rights, a lot of rights. They are not appreciated because religious things, if you don't analyze them critically, something that is very nice might be construed to be negative. So it needs a lot of understanding, a lot of wisdom, a lot of people to explain in the simplest term for people to understand. But when it comes to the emancipation people talk about, I believe that women have rights as much as the men do. They should be given, and they have their rights to education, to work, to be paid as much as the men are paid, because women, much as not both sides can do whatever the other person does, but women are as important to society as men are. Women are stronger in certain areas and weaker in certain areas. And the men are also stronger in certain areas and weaker in certain areas.
Okay.
So for me, it's about tapping the best of each, put it together so that we move. If God has given the woman more in terms, because our sustenance comes from God. We believe that. I believe that. The Quran says that God gives the sustenance. If God gives my wife more than He gives me, I should be happy.
Okay.
I should be happy.
And not intimidated.
Not be intimidated at all. If my wife understands that having more does not make her superior, she should not use the money now to make me smaller than her.
Of course.
Then I think all is good, because the sustenance comes from God. If my wife is very brilliant and she goes to a company and she raises up to the top and she's doing a good job and that comes with more pay than mine, I should be proud of her.
Okay.
You see, and I should give her respect for that, because anybody who can get to a level where they are earning even more than yourself, it means that they are very smart, they are very hardworking, they have values that has led to that. So you respect and acknowledge and recognize. And I think as soon as you do that, I think there should be a problem.
Okay. Well, Mujib Kasuse has been in the media for a very long time. A lot of people have said too many things about you, some true, some not true. So how did your family, your mom and dad, and also your wife and kids deal with some of the stories that were put on media about you, and how did you also deal with those stories?
On my part, I was lucky that in the US, the school system recognizes athletes, and they immediately know that any athlete in the school has a very big chance of becoming a star tomorrow. So what they do, they enroll you into this course where they help you on how to manage the media, once you ever get yourself in such a situation. So I was taught in my media management class that, first of all, you never fight the media as a principle. Two, the media will portray both your good and your bad side. So do your best not to show your bad side to the media, because if you do, they will. Then also, it's important that you accept that the media, they do their job the way they do it. And no matter what you do, you are not going to shape the way the media does their job. So you just have to take care of yourself and stay away from those things that you wouldn't be happy about when they are put in the media. And in the beginning, when I came back here from the US, I didn't take that advice so seriously. So I got in trouble because I would be in an area where other people are drinking, and the picture will capture the bottles on the other side, and they say, I drank all colors of alcohol, yet I've never even touched a glass. Yes, exactly. So later I realized that I'm bringing these things on myself, so I had to change the way I live my life. On the side of my family, my father told me, because I had become uncomfortable with that situation of you are in the media, especially for the wrong reasons and not true, then you go off. Then my father told me, first of all, the moment the media starts to follow you, just know you're important. But important people behave with the best manners. That's what he told me. So it is good that they are following you. It indicates that somehow you are important to them. But an important person has to have the best of manners. You be in the media for the good reason. Find a cause and concentrate on that, and let the media cover you for that cause. That's why you see me, my cause is football. I believe my calling is football, because that's where my passion is. That's where I want to help people. It is through this. When I started Pro 9, I started with boys that had been almost thrown on the streets. Football system had rejected them. So I pulled them together, got for them accommodation, put them in one place, you know, to help them, but using the game that I love. So my energies now are in football. If the media is going to cover me, they will cover me because of football. My private life is as private as it is. This is the first time I've even mentioned my kids on the show, because one of them saw an earlier interview and she said, why don't you mention our names?
Oh dear, I'm glad that you mentioned them today. At least today, now they know their daddy mentioned them. She was so young to understand where I come from. So I said, okay. She was so bothered with it. Amira was really concerned. That's a smart girl.
Yeah, so I said, okay, I'll correct that. Until they're old enough for me to explain that it's not good to put your family affairs out there in the public, because family should be. But for now, that's what I do. My private life is extremely private, but my football life is out there, because football is done in the open. Yes. All
right. Just a minute. So we've discussed your family life, Mujib Kasuse, and how the media affected it or did not affect your family life, and how you dealt with it. You're one of the lucky people who managed to get a lesson or two on how to deal with the media from your father, and also your time in the US, which is quite impressive. Now coming back to Uganda, and we're looking, you're a businessman, aside from just being a footballer and a football agent and a director, but you're also a business person. And COVID-19 pandemic came into the country country and affected a number of businesses. Now, how did it affect your business, and how do you think the government can help with dealing with this shutdown in businesses that we've had in this period of time?
We are affected. My family is in the real estate business, and that one was hit hard, and that was because it's mostly commercial.
Okay.
Our clients' businesses were closed for close to 6 months, and we had, as a family, we had a decision to make, because we realized that our clients have been hit much. Of course, we were not getting the rent, for instance, but at the same time, the people who were supposed to get the rent to us, we understood that they were not getting any income. So we decided to first look after them. First, don't ask for any money, because they didn't make any money. Two, we decided that let them continue to occupy. Whenever they open, don't get rid of them simply because of the situation. So because of that, the money was not coming in. But thankfully, for us, we said as long as the buildings are there, whenever they open. And even after they opened, these people had issues. They had loans, they had school fees, so they couldn't immediately start. So speaking slowly and slowly.
Okay.
But at the same time, the government expects us to pay full taxes on the premises.
Yeah.
And then all the other obligations are ongoing. So for me, I think government should look at the sectors that were hit so much, and then come up with ways to help. Fiscal policy, one of the areas where they should be able to help is with the taxation. You can give tax breaks, tax cuts for people to start trading again, you know, the simplest of terms.
Okay.
And then when they pick up, maybe you can pick up again. Secondly, government should concentrate on helping people to diversify. Because what COVID taught most of us is that some of the areas where people have been investing money are not as great when a crisis comes. They can't survive a crisis. So many people have since moved on to other things.
Okay.
So government should identify those areas and also put incentives for people to go in. One of those areas is agriculture.
Okay.
I know they are doing a lot to let people know that with agriculture, you can't go wrong. But people need funding to go into agriculture. So they need to do more when it comes to that area. Then also, government should increase its direct spending in the economy, because government is the biggest spender.
Okay.
But what they are doing, they are borrowing, and they are borrowing from us, and then they are investing on infrastructure. There's no, when you invest in infrastructure, there's no, infrastructure will eat up that money, will keep the money there for as long as the infrastructures are ongoing. If it's 5 years, the money is not felt with the economy, apart from the few suppliers to the infrastructure. But when government invests in paying salaries to the people who work, giving these tenders to the layman, you know, then direct money comes to the people, and the people invest the money, and then government gets it back through taxes. So for me, I think they need to look at it more on the fiscal policy. What can they do to make sure that the economy breathes a bit more? At the moment, it is not, because people are struggling. At the same time, government is asking for a lot of things. Taxes, 6 new taxes have been proposed in a crippled economy, and the situation that people are in. I don't think that will help. It will affect investments, because most investments went down. So people are looking to come back again. But when they see the taxes that are coming, you fear to invest because you can't deal with the taxes. People went into COVID and they were paying an X amount of money. By the time they came out of COVID to clear their things, the tax side quadrupled.
Yes.
That doesn't help the economy. So for me, I think government needs to look at those different things and make sure that, first of all, they push the layman to earn. And once they do that, then the money will come again.
Okay.
Yes.
The issues of Uganda cranes and Magago that is going on in media, and the fact that he said the cranes have been playing shitty football. What is your view on that? And is that the reason that you decided you're coming up to stand for the second time for the FUFA presidency?
What is going on in our game currently is really, really absurd. We've reached a point for me of no return. We've reached a point of reset. Because when you see the football players exchanging very heavy words with their leaders, in football we call it losing the dressing room.
Okay.
And in football, when you lose the dressing room, you go. There's no any other alternative. It's been tried and tested. So for me, that gives the indication that there is a lot of decay and rot underneath. And to the people who are outside the game, they are shocked and surprised. For us who are inside, this thing has been building, because we haven't been able to do things the right way. When you don't do things the right way, you're bound to hit a dead end. When you like and use shortcuts, you are bound to get lost somewhere, somehow. When you sacrifice the bigger good for small gains, you're bound to fail eventually.
And you think that is what is happening to...
That's what we've been doing as a country when it comes to football. I'll give you an example. From the fans and government and the administrators, we have put all our eggs in the cranes, specifically qualification for AFCON, that Africa Cup of Nations tournament. Yes, the fans dreamt and they wanted it. But we can give it to them without sacrificing the game. But what we have done is we have put all our energies in cranes, we have put all the resources in cranes, but in doing so we have neglected the structures. The leagues are extremely weak. Clubs are struggling to even trouble to play matches. The young ones are not playing the game. They are playing on their own. They have no competitions. They have no guidance. The game is centralized here. And because of that, we are struggling. Government puts 10 billion in football, but all that money is conditioned to cranes. Cranes already had 6 multinational companies. The money goes to cranes alone.
Okay.
So who is looking after the young ones, the women, the coaches, capacity building? We can't even host an international match in our national stadium, Mandela National Stadium. Why? Because we didn't think infrastructure is as important as the game itself. So what you see now is a result of bad business between the parties. The players think, yes, we are making a lot of money as cranes, but you, the leaders, are taking it. You are giving us less. So because we have invested so much in cranes and forgot the game. Now, what you see between the players and the federation is the players revolting against the master. And it has nothing to do with the game. When the president came out and said, you played bad football, what money are you asking of me? You played badly, I shouldn't pay you.
I shouldn't pay.
Now, that is the language of a dealer. A business dealer will only pay you for the work you have done. And it must be good work. In football, in sports, you lose but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be paid. So he was hurt, he was mad that the team is not qualifying, the team is not playing well, because when the team plays well and qualifies, more money comes in. Now the players answered him back and say, we have been making money for you, but we are tired. Get other people to make the money for you. Now that is not football. Our game should never get to that level. Playing for the national team, first of all, must be pride and patriotism, the love for the country. You come to showcase because you are the chosen few. However, you should be paid for the work that you do, because much as you are sacrificing for the country, your family is looking up to you for this. So the players should play well, but the federation was treating it as a business. When you do this, I pay you. If you don't do this, maybe I won't pay you. If you do this, I'm able to get money. So that arrangement for me was wrong, and the federation should never have dealt cranes as a business the way they are doing it.
And that is where you think the problem was?
That's where the problem was. And you see now, there's lots of respect for each party. The players are resigning and they are retiring. That's not the way players like Onyango should retire. They should do it honorably. We should even know that in June, the match against Kenya will be Onyango's last match. That people come and say goodbye, meaningful goodbye, and thank him, such that he feels the pride that he put his body on the line for the country. And all we can say as Ugandans that Onyango, we appreciate. But the values have gone out of the window. We don't have values anymore in the game. Yet football is a way of life. We should have values, we should have norms, we should have traditions that we promote. We see players that played football a long time ago cannot even access the headquarters of football. We see players being beaten and arrested and put in jail by the leaders of the game. So that is not football, because football is supposed to people come into football to relieve stress, to be happy, you know, to have bragging rights such that they can speak, you know. But when we start to go this way, football is becoming more political. Yes, and as a country we need together. We need to put a stop to that.
Now let's come back to your life. For me, you've explained yourself thoroughly about why you want to go for the FIFA presidency, and if you are able to do so. That particular session that we've had with you about what is happening in cranes explains it all. Where do we see you in the next 10 years?
The next
10 years.
The next 10 years, first of all, I pray to God that He gives me the life to get there. I still have a dream where our football is run in the best way. And the best way is by concentrating on the basics. Respect, systems, structures, starting from the foundation, going all the way up. And that's, in the next 10 years, I want to see myself as somebody looking back and say, I was able to do something about the game. I was able to fight for the young boys and girls.
When you say that, does it mean you'll be in retirement and looking back and appreciating the work you have done?
No, not necessarily. You never retire from a passion. If your passion is singing, you never retire. But you change. You move from maybe one aspect of the game into the other. If I became FIFA president, I don't see myself doing it for more than 2 terms. No. So after that, I'll still stay in the game, but serve in a different capacity, because the game is as huge as it is. But in the next 10 years, I want to say that yes, I advocated for this, I put my life for this, I worked for it, I put my resources for it, and now I see it is working. Young boys and girls are playing football from the age of 7 or even earlier than that. They have facilities where they can play from. When we go to Nambole, we are there as one Uganda, one people, you know. No political parties, no religion, showing our patriotism and being together. Football continuing to be that mobilizing tool. In those 10 years, I want to see league football at its climax, clubs blossoming in terms of being able to to get the resources, channeling out the best players. Uganda competing on the international scene consistently, but also doing it the right way. So for me, in the next 10 years, that's where I see myself in my dream.
Okay.
And I'm going to put all my effort in trying to make sure that I get to that end of the dream and I can look back with nothing but smiles. But I pray that God gives me the life and the energy and everything that I need to make it happen.
We're seeing football till the end, huh? On a lighter note, though, what's your best dish when you're going to eat a meal, a hefty meal? Now I want us to be a little bit light with the conversation. What would your ideal meal be?
I like to eat my posho, sweet potatoes, beans. Yes.
You're a true African man, huh?
But I love fruits, especially jackfruit.
Okay.
If you give me that, then you are my friend.
All right. When you're not working, what are you doing? What are some of the hobbies that you do to take the stress away?
I struggle to go away from football because when I'm not watching it, I'm playing it. If I'm not playing it, I'm teaching it. If I'm not teaching it, I'm analyzing it. So my free time, I play myself because I retired. Now I do the administrative work and all that. But in my free time, I play also with my boys. But I like, the local plays, Katemba. I love that.
Okay.
I love that. When I know that Abe Michiri, Katoluwama, those guys, they have plays, I'm the first one in line.
Okay.
I watch one play 3 times because once I go there, I release all my stress. It's one place I go and I laugh from beginning to end. And laughing is good. So
it is.
I love that. Since we were child, it's a family thing. We love plays. So I love that. I travel a lot due to my work, but I hate traveling.
You don't like traveling?
No,
You're one of a few people that doesn't like.
I'm not adventurous at all.
Okay.
So even when I travel, I would stay in my hotel. So for me, basically my hobbies are within football.
Okay. If you were to choose an ideal car, what would it be?
An ideal car. When I was younger, I was into cars. But right now, for me, a car is something that takes me from point A to point B.
Okay.
If it is just strong enough, then for me it's good enough. I'm not into, I don't like sports cars.
Okay.
Sport cars, no, I don't like that. I prefer a 4-wheel. Because they are more spacious and to me they are more comfortable. I don't like speed. Okay. Yes, so I'm not really into cars anymore. When I was young, yes, I was, but now, no.
Impressive.
Yeah, comfort is the most important.
Okay. If there's one thing that you were supposed to change in your life, if you were given another chance with life, and if there was one thing that you were to change, what would it be?
No, I wouldn't change anything because everything that I am or around me was predetermined by God to happen exactly the way. If I want to change anything, it means I'm challenging God. I can never do that.
Okay.
Everything that has happened on me or about me or around me is because God preordained it that way, and He does not prescribe anything on His slave unless it is good for him.
Good.
So even those things that I think were not good in my life, they were. Just that I don't have the wisdom to comprehend them. But trust in God that everything happens for a reason and it's always for the good reason.
Any particular regrets?
Any particular
regrets?
No.
Nothing, absolutely.
None whatsoever.
Okay, well that's good to know. Thank you for speaking to us, Mr. Mujib.
Thank you.
All right, well ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of Select Talk. Now thank you for joining us on this episode of Select Talk, 1 in a million, and I hope that you catch us again next time, same place, same time.